And let me just get the link for that live stream. So if anybody wants to see the live stream, you can see it at this link right here. All right, so everybody, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working with picoctf one more time. So if everybody can have their picoctf up and ready. Let's see. So user C says, I didn't get to watch the video. I don't know what we did. That's okay. You can watch the video for the previous session on the YouTube channel, so we can catch back up with that. You don't need to do that right now. You can do that maybe later after the session is over. That'll be fine. All right, so we're online at YouTube. And so let's take a look at some of the commands we were using in the last class. So today we're going to be doing part 4 of Linux operations basics. So we're going to be taking a look at text editors, and we're going to be looking at base64 encoding. So if you don't know what these things are, that's fine. We'll be explaining what these are during the session. So let's move on. So what did we learn in the previous sessions? We learned about the ls command. That is the command what we use to get the directory contents. ls stands for list. We also took a look at the pwd command. Pwd lets you know where you are in. Okay, somebody says I'm not sharing my screen. I will correct that. Thank you very much to user AS for sharing that. I forgot to share my screen. Okay, so I will share my screen now. Okay. All right, so let me go back then. Okay, so we're learning about text editors in base64 encoding today. And we learned about the ls command previously. ls stands for list. It lets you see what's inside of a directory in Linux. We learned the pwd command that lets you know what directory that you're in inside of Linux. So pwd stands for print working directory. We also learned about the cat command. The cat command is used to read file content. So you do cat and then space and then the name of the file. We learned about the cd command. cd stands for change directory, and that lets you move around inside the file system. You can move from one directory to another directory. And we learned about the mkdir, make directory command. That's going to let you make a new directory inside of your file system. The wget command lets you download files. The rm command lets you delete files. The nc command lets you connect to another server. And the grep command lets you search inside of a file for the file contents. The find command lets you search for files with a certain description. So for example, you can find files with a certain name in this case. And we learned about command piping, which is what lets you chain these commands together. So you can give the output of a command into the input of another command, and that's what we mean by command piping. All right. So today, what we're going to be learning about is terminal text editors. So terminal text editors are what let you write some files inside of Linux. So what we're going to do is everybody together now, we're going to use the JS Linux over at this link. So I'm going to provide the link to everybody in chat. Please navigate to that page. And when you have your JS Linux all loaded up, please type in the chat, JS Linux up. Okay, user F says, do we have to use JS Linux? We're only going to be using JS Linux for this portion. For this portion of the lesson, we're going to be moving on to our picoctf web shell after this. Okay, so everybody inside of JS Linux, you can see here that so JS Linux is a full Linux. So if you ask who am I, it'll tell you that you're root. Does anybody here know what the root user is in Linux by any chance? If anybody knows, type it in chat. So inside of Linux, the root user is the user with the most privileges. So it's so we can say that the root user is the super user on the Linux system. So if somebody starts talking about Linux and root and the root user, that means that they're talking about the user with the most permissions on the system, which means that they're basically the highest level user on the Linux system. But we're not talking about that. What we're talking about is terminal text editors. So we're going to learn about one of these terminal text editors today. So from time to time, we're going to need to write new files or modify existing ones. To do so, we need to use Linux text editors. So two commonly installed text editors on Linux are Nano and Vim. Okay, so user IJ says, sorry that they're late. Can you give a brief rundown of what I've missed? So you haven't missed very much. We're just talking about terminal text editors inside of Linux. So I'm going to give you the link to the JS Linux that we're using, and you can join us over there. Okay. So everybody, what I want you to do inside of Linux is inside of the JS Linux, I want you to give this command nano and then space and then test.txt. So what this command is going to do is it's going to put us into the text editor, and it's going to have us editing a file called test.txt. Okay, so nano space test.txt, and then hit enter. And then after a couple seconds, we're going to find ourselves at the Nano text editor. So you know that you're in Nano text editor because at the top it's going to say GNU Nano, and then in the center of the text editor is going to have the name of the file that you're editing. Okay, so this is how we edit files inside of Linux. So what is the command? Let me reply to user O. Okay, so basically inside of the text editor you can type whatever you want. So for instance, we could type my name is the Shy Hat. And keep in mind that you don't need to type what I'm typing. You can type whatever you want. So I'm editing a file right now. This is the Nano text editor. Okay, so whenever we're finished typing whatever we want to type inside the file, and user A says, I just happened to join, what did I miss? Okay, what we're doing right now is we're using the Nano text editor, and we're editing a file. So I will give you the command that we're using right now. Okay, so what I want you to practice right now is I want to have you practice typing inside of the text editor, and then when you're finished, what I want you to do is I want you to exit from the text editor. So to exit from the text editor, what you need to do is use the following keyboard shortcut. Okay, so if you're on Windows, you want to use Control and C. Oh no, sorry, not Control and C, Control and X. So Control X, and if you're on Mac, you want to use the keyboard shortcut Command X. So I'm going to do Control and X, and then at the bottom, it's going to ask us if we want to save the modified buffer. That means do we want to save the file? And what we want to do is we want to type Y for yes, and then it's going to ask us what file name to write. So what name we're going to save the file under. This is going to be test.txt. You just need to type enter. You just need to hit the enter key, and that's going to save the file. So if you use ls, you should see that there is test.txt right here, and you can cap that file to read it. All right, so okay, so some people are joining late. Okay, if you've just arrived, please go over to this link right here. And what we're doing is we're editing files using the text editor. And some other users are saying, okay, so I'm providing the link to everybody in chat one more time. User P says they don't have the link. I just provided the link in the chat. User AS says it didn't ask me to modify. So if you didn't type anything in, Command X is not exiting in Mac. Okay, so I'm going to look this up really quick. So I'm going to look it up really quick in ChatGPT. Using Mac, how do we save and exit using the Nano text editor? Okay, so it should be Control and X, not Command and X. So to anybody who's using Mac, you want to use Control and X, not Command and X. So sorry to the people who are using Mac. I don't use Mac, so please use Control and X. If you're using Windows, it's Control and X. If you're using Mac, it's also Control and X. User C asks, who do we go back on Linux again? Who do we go back? How do we go back? Okay, so if you want to go back on Linux, so this is not it. We're using JS Linux, right? Okay, so if you want to go back, it's usually Control C to exit out of a command that's already in progress. So if you're stuck, you're going to you want to use the Control C keyboard shortcut, and on Mac it's probably Command C to get your command unstuck. Some other questions. User H says, "Do you mean Apple Mac computer?" Yes, I mean Apple Mac computer. User AS says, what do we answer when it asks us to modify? So when it asks you to modify, type Y for yes. User AS, if it asks you to modify, type Y for yes. Let me demonstrate one more time. Okay, so I'm going to nano into test.txt, and we see that it has the stuff we already have here. I'm going to type some more. And then I want to exit. So exit, it's Control X. And then it's going to ask us to save the modified buffer, and we're going to type Y for yes, and then we're going to hit return to confirm the file name. Okay? So if you manage to successfully do that, and you can cat out your test.txt and it says what you typed in, please type I nanoed with a smiley face. And if you're still having trouble with the using Nano, please let me know and I'll try to help you out. Okay, so I see that most people successfully used Nano, so that's great. So you're going to be using Nano quite a bit, and in fact, if you're in picoctf, you can also use Nano, and it's probably the easier way to edit files when you're using the picoctf web shell. So everybody, what we're going to do now is we're going to do a warm-up exercise over at picoctf. So if you are not already logged into picoctf, please navigate to the picoctf website and log in. So I'm going to log in. And then what we're going to do is we're going to open up our web shell because we want to solve some challenges. So user C says, it says this is the test editor. Is that what it's supposed to say? Right, because we're editing the file test.txt, It's going to say test.txt in the middle of the editor when you're using it. Okay, so everybody, let's open up the web shell. So of course you have to click on the web shell, and then we're going to put the web shell in its own browser tab. So you want to click on this button right here, which looks like a box with an arrow going out. So click on that, and then the web shell is going to be in its own browser tab. All right, so and then we use our picoctf username. My username is the Shy Hat, and I'm going to provide the password. Remember, when you type in your password, you're not going to be able to see what you're typing, but that's totally fine. You just need to type in your password and hit enter. So I'm going to look up my password and copy it. So to everybody who isn't using copy-paste, using copy-paste is very important for learning how to work inside the terminal. So the keyboard shortcut to paste inside of Linux is going to be Control-Shift-V or Command-Shift-V if you're using Mac OS. So after that, you're going to be logged in. So if you're logged in to your web shell, please type picoctf go. Okay, so everybody, we're going to be solving the Big Zip challenge today. So the first challenge we're doing is the Big Zip challenge. I'm going to provide the Big Zip challenge link in the chat. And I'll also provide it to the people who are using the YouTube stream. Okay, so over on picoctf, I'm going to paste in the challenge URL, and we're going to see this Big Zip challenge over here. So this is the Big Zip challenge. It's an easy challenge. It's from General Skills, and the description says, unzip this archive and find the flag. So we've done all the stuff that we need to do this challenge before. So if you won't want to wait for me to demonstrate to everybody how to do the challenge, you can go ahead and solve this challenge by yourself and try to race me to get to the flag. And if you're able to get to the flag first, please let us know in the chat, and then we'll know that you already know what you're doing. All right. So to everybody who needs the walkthrough, what we need to do is so this is Big Zip. What we're going to do is we're going to create a directory to put this challenge in. So we need to go to our web shell, and what we're going to do is so first of all, I might have a Big Zip directory already in here, so I'm going to delete that, but it's not here. And I'm going to make that directory. So you want to use the mkdir make directory command, and then we're going to call this one Big Zip. So after that, we're going to enter that directory by using cd Big Zip. And then when we do pwd, it says Big Zip here over at the end. Okay? And next, after we're inside of the Big Zip directory, we want to copy the URL for the file that we need to download. So we go over to the picoctf page, and then there's this download zip file link right here. And what you need to do is right-click that, and then click on Copy Link Address. Okay, so after you do Copy Link Address, then we can go back to the web shell, and we can use the wget command to download the file. So we type wget and then space, and then we right-click, and then we can paste in the URL for the zip file. So after we do that, hit enter, and that's going to download the file. So it should say bigzipfiles.zip saved over here. And then we're we can see when we do ls that we see that the zip file is here. All right, so everybody, does anybody know what command we use to unzip this zip file? So this is a zip file with a bunch of files inside of it. Which command do we do to unzip the file? So a bunch of people in the chat are saying that we use unzip. That's correct. So this command is pretty easy. So it's just unzip and then the name of the file right here. So remember, you can use your tab autocomplete. So just begin typing the name of the file and then hit tab. The tab key on your keyboard is, it should be a couple of keys away from the underneath the escape key. And that's going to autocomplete the name of the file. This is very useful. All right, so user A says, can you review the first of what we put in the web shell? Can you review the first? Okay, so user C4C says, it didn't work, please review that again. Okay, so to user A and to user C4C, if you could tell us which part. All right, somebody on YouTube has subscribed. Thank you very much to my8OS. Thank you very much. Okay, so all right, so let me review this again. So this is the command to unzip the file. So we're gonna hit enter on that, and that's going to unzip a lot of files over here. So this is a really big zip. So it unzips all these files, and to the people who were asking how to do that again, let me demonstrate one more time. It'll be a little bit faster this time, okay? So I'm going to go to Big Zip. So inside of Big Zip, I'm going to delete everything here. And then I'm going to demonstrate one more time. So at the picoctf page, at the Big Zip description over here, what we need to do is we need to highlight download zip file over here. And somebody says the mkdir part. Okay, so the first thing we did inside of the web shell, I'm going to get rid of this directory. Is we did mkdir and then big zip. So mkdir space big zip, and that creates the big zip directory. And then we enter the directory using cd big zip. So the first step is mkdir space big zip, and then we enter the directory cd space big zip. And now we download the file. So to download the file, we need to go over to the challenge page, highlight the download zip file button over here, right click, select copy link address, and then go back to the web shell and use the wget command, wget space, and then right click and select paste, and then hit enter. That's going to download the file. And then what we need to do is we need to use the unzip command. So it's unzip big, and then hit the tab button to autocomplete the file name, and then hit enter, and that's going to unzip all the files. Okay, so we just unzip the files, all these files over here. The next thing we need to do after we get all the files here is, so user C says, what? So I assume that there's something you're confused about. If you could tell me, user CG, if you could tell me what you're confused at. User C4C says, I was lost at wget. Okay, so we use the wget command to download the file. So we need to go to, okay, so here we need to, so after we get to the description page, there's going to be the download zip file link right here. Right click it, select copy link address, and then go to the web shell, and then type wget, and then space, and then right-click, and then choose paste, and that's going to paste in the URL for the file we want to download. User CG says, I didn't see what you did to bring the files out. Okay, so after we download all the files with the wget command, we want to use the unzip command. So we see here that there's this bigzipfiles.zip. We need to use the unzip command to unzip all the files and put them all inside this directory. So it's going to be unzip space bi and then autocomplete with the tab big-zip.files.zip. All right. So if you're still having troubles, we will. I'll try to help you after the session is over. Okay. But we're going to move on to the next part. So after we've unzipped all the files, we need to search inside of these directories over here we have to search for the picoctf flag, and we're going to do that with the grep command. So it's going to be grep, and then the pattern we're looking for, which is picoctf, because all of the flags have picoctf in them. So we're looking inside of the files for this pattern right here, picoctf. And then we have to specify a directory, and the directory is going to be the dot directory, And then this is going to search inside of all of these directories and files for this pattern right here, picoctf. So we hit enter, and that is a directory. So how do we grep inside of directories? I'm going to ask really quick. So to anybody who wants to learn about Linux, sometimes even people who use Linux for a long time, they forget how to use the commands. So what I like to do is I like to ask ChatGPT how to use these commands. So using grep, how do we search inside of directories and files for a pattern? So we're going to ask this question. So we have to use the -r option. Okay, so it's going to be grep -r, then pattern, then directory. Okay, so I think I've got it. So inside the web shell, we're going to grep, and then we're going to -r, and we're going to input the pattern, which is picoctf, and then we're going to supply the directory. User AS says, we'll be doing another challenge. Yeah, we're going to be doing another 2 challenges today. So it's going to be, so dot and // are effectively the same. If you see // or if you see dot, they usually refer to the same thing. And dot means the current directory. And in this case, we're looking in the current directory and -r, recursive, inside of all the other directories inside this directory for this pattern picoctf. So we give that command, and then it found a match. So it found a match inside of this user NS. User NS sends they found the flag. Congratulations, user NS. And user CG says, I messed up something in my web shell. So to user CG, if you ever mess up something in your web shell, you can try to get unstuck using the Control-C keyboard shortcut. Control-C is going to get you unstuck if you're stuck. But if the problem is still there, you can always reload the page, and then you're going to have to re-log in. But maybe that's what you need to do to get unstuck and to get back to your regular web shell. Okay. All right. So now we have the flag over here, and it's inside this directory. It's inside this directory in this file. And this is the flag. What you need to do is you need to highlight the flag. So just click on the beginning of the flag and then go over to the end of the flag. And what you need to do is you need to right click on it and then select copy and then go over to the challenge page and we're going to paste it in. Okay? So all you need to do then is to click on the submit flag button and then it says, hooray, you solved this challenge. All right, so everybody, if you solved the challenge, please type in the chat, I found the big zip. And if you had trouble and you weren't able to complete the challenge, I will help anybody who needs help with any of the challenges at the end of the session, okay? So the end of the session is going to be in about 27 minutes, but I'll help you with that challenge if you need help with it, okay? User D says, I can't get to the flag with the grep command. So let me show you the grep command we used one more time. So you want to make sure you want to type ls, and when you type ls, you have to have unzipped the file already. So if you see this directory right here, big-zip-files, then you know that you're in a position that you can look for the file. So after you've unzipped the files and you see this directory in here, then you can do the following command: grep space -r space picoctf space and then dot. Okay, so to the people who still need help with this challenge, I'll help you out with this challenge at the end of the session. So we're going to move on to the next part. But the command that you use to find this particular pattern right here is grep -r picoctf and then dot, and that's going to search all the files inside of this inside of all these directories over here, and then it's going to find the line that contains the pattern we're looking for, which is the flag over here. Okay. All right. So we're going to move on to the next thing that we're explaining today, and the next thing we're explaining today is the base 64 command. So we're not necessarily talking about something that's exclusive to Linux, but inside of Linux, and when you're solving CTF challenges, we deal a lot with base 64, which is was a type of encoding. So encoding means to transform a piece of information into another form. So sometimes this is used to keep things secret, or sometimes this is used because to transform it into something that that another program or another protocol recognizes. So this command over here is called base64, and base64 is a command that encodes or decodes. User F says, "Is it related to Nintendo 64?" Well, it's a bit related to Nintendo 64. Because we're talking about a number of bits, and Nintendo 64 uses 64 bits, and we're also talking about 64 bits in this case. So it's going to encode or decode data according to the base 64 codec, and it is often used to convert data for transmission across computer networks. So we see here that there are 64 symbols inside of this base 64 encoding. And the 64 symbols are all of the uppercase letters in the alphabet, and then all of the lowercase letters in the alphabet, and then the numbers 0 to 9, and then the two symbols, the plus sign and the slash sign. So these are all the symbols inside of base 64. So if you go to your web shell and clear the web shell, and then use this command, echo, echo anything you want. So I'm going to go echo test, and then I'm going to use the pipe command, and then it's going to be base 64. This is a Linux command that's going to transform these letters into the base 64 format. Okay, so if we give this command, echo space test space pipe space base64. So base64 is going to transform this word right here, test, into the base64 format, and it comes out looking like this. So basically, you can transform any piece of text into base64, and then it's going to end up becoming encoded like this. So if anybody has any questions about why we transform this information, or any questions about base64, you can type them in chat and I'll try to answer them. But let's go back to the presentation. So the characters used in base64 encoding are shown here. So these are the characters that you'll see in the base64 encoding. User CG says, I need help. Okay, so if you could type what the issue is that you need help with, I'll try to assist you with that. So these are the characters used in base64. We have to note that all base64 encoded strings must consist of a number of characters that is divisible by 4. So if you look at any string that's transformed using base64 encoding, you'll notice that the number of letters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, is a number that's divisible by 4. Okay, so user CG, I'll help you out with your problem after the session is over. We need to run through a couple more challenges before the session ends, okay? But I'll definitely help you out after the session is over. All right, so what do we do with this information? So in the cases where an encoded string is not divisible by 4, the encoding process will pad out the string with a number of equal symbols until the string is divisible by 4. So basically, if you see a pattern of numbers and letters, and especially if you see some equal signs at the end of the string, then you can tell that this is a base64 encoded string. So if it seems a bit confusing right now, it'll become less confusing the more you practice with it. So if we want to decode a file that has base64 encoding in it, we're going to be using the following command. It's going to be the base64 command, and then -d, and then the name of the file. In this case, it's data.txt. User AS says, when does class end, not the time? What day is our last session? This is really interesting question mark. This is really interesting question mark. I can't tell if you're saying if this is interesting or if this is not interesting. But we're going to be running for about 7 weeks, so I think we're going to be ending around the second week of September. So the second week of September, we're going to be finishing this entire course. So after Linux, we're going to be learning about Python programming. So Linux is ending on Wednesday. So the next class is going to be the last class for Linux, and then we're going to move on to Python programming, and then after that, we're going to do web app hacking, okay? So we're going to do our second challenge of the day, and the second challenge of the day is the bases challenge. So I'm going to supply the link for the bases challenge in chat. So if you had problems with the previous challenge, you don't need to complete the previous challenge to do this challenge, okay? So everybody, I've provided the link in the Zoom chat, and I'm providing it in the YouTube chat as well. Okay, so let's go over to our picoctf. So I'm going to paste in the challenge, and this is the bases challenge. All right, so before we solve the challenge, we're going to go over to our web shell, and we're just going to give a command, because if you don't do anything with the web shell in 15 minutes, then the web shell is going to kick you out. So we want to, every once in a while, we just want to give a command to the web shell so it doesn't kick us out. And then we're going to go back to the challenge page. User CG says, what I'm not sure what you're talking about, user CG. If you could ask the question again, then maybe I can better answer your question. Okay, so this challenge right here is called bases, and it says, what does this mean? So, and I think it has something to do with bases. So this is exactly what we're talking about. This is a base 64 string. So what we can do is we can highlight it, and then we can copy it by using our right click and then select copy. And that's going to copy this string. So there are a bunch of websites that we can go to decode base 64. So for example, there's a website right here called base64encode.org, and it has a bunch of ads and stuff. That's great. We can paste in the string over here, and I'll provide the link to that website in the chat. Okay, so this is a web application over here, and what this does is that it encodes or decodes the information from base 64. In this case, we want to decode, so we need to go over to this button over here that says decode. So I think okay, I'm sorry, everybody. I gave you the link to the encode website. So I'm going to resubmit the link, and this one is for the decode website. User F has also provided another link for another website that could work. So there's a lot of websites that could work for this. So I want you to go to base64decode.org. That is the latest link that I've included in the chat. And then you want to paste in the string that we got. So this string right here, copy that, right click, copy it, and then go to the website, paste it in with the Control V or Command V, or you can just right click and select paste. And then I want you to click on the decode button right here. Okay, so everybody, after you decode it, then we get this string right here that says "learn the ropes," kind of. If you have that, please type in the chat, "I decoded it." Okay, so the last thing we need to do is we need to copy this string. So we need to copy the string, highlight it, and then copy it. And then we need to go back to the picoctf webpage, and we need to submit this. But the problem is, if we just submit this, then it says, sorry, that flag is incorrect. Does anybody know why it says that this flag is incorrect? Okay, user CG says after you, okay, so user L says it doesn't have the picoctf format. Okay, so right. So everybody is correct. You need to put it in the picoctf format. So the picoctf flags all have to look the same, and they all have to have picoctf, and then they have to be wrapped in these curly braces right here. Okay, so this is the flag you're looking for. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to put it in the notes. So I'm going to edit this. Hold on. And then I'm going to save this. So to anybody who just wants to get the flag, I'm going to provide the link to everybody in chat. Okay, so user NS says, can you show us how to decode it through Linux? Yes, I'll show you right now. Okay, so this is the flag. I'm not going to click on submit yet. What you can do inside of Linux is you can copy the flag, and then I want you to go to your web shell and you want to just go to your home directory. So you can just cd by itself, and we're going to use the echo command. So echo is going to echo back whatever you provide to it. It's useful if you want to chain different Linux commands using the pipe. So echo and then space, and then I want you to right click and paste in. Oh, what did I do? Hold on, let me copy that string again. So I need to copy this. So I'm going to grab this, right click, copy, and then go over to the web shell. And then I'm going to echo space and then paste in the string, just like this. And then I'm going to do another space, and I'm going to provide the pipe character. And then I'm going to give the base64 command with the decode switch. So the decode switch is space -D. So this is going to decode using base64 whatever is echoed out by this. Whatever is echoed out, which is going to be this, and it's going to decode this message right here. Okay. And then so this is a little bit screwed up, but this is what we're looking for right over here. Okay. So if anybody had problems with using this command, then I'll help you out after the session is over. We're going to do one more challenge after this, okay? So we're going to go over to the picoctf page, and we're going to submit the flag. picoctf, it says learn the ropes. Click on submit, and then you're done. So the last challenge we're going to do is another base64 encoding challenge, and that one is called repetitions. So I'm going to get the link for everybody. Okay, user F says, can you go back to your web shell for a sec? Yes, we can do that. So the command is echo space and then paste in whatever string you got, and then space and then pipe, because we're chaining the commands together. User D said, I submitted it, but it was incorrect. So if you submit this by itself, that's not going to be correct. You need to wrap it up with picoctf, and you can find the flag over at this link right here. You just need to copy that flag over here. I'm going to provide it in the chat. So just go to this page and then scroll down to the bottom, and there's going to be the flag at the bottom over here, okay? Okay, so the challenge we're doing is repetitions. So this one is another repeating challenge. And it is over here. It says, can you make sense of this file? Download the file here. So if you did the previous challenge, you have all the tools that you need to finish this challenge. But if you if you're able to download the file and start decoding everything, go ahead and try to race me to the flag, okay? User RH says, sorry I'm late, was traveling. Well, the session's almost finished. We're going to be finishing in about 10 minutes or so. But we can help you out after the session is done. Stick around after the session, and I'll try to help you out, okay? User H said, I didn't get the flag. User H, which challenge are we talking about? All right, so first of all, there's repetitions. What we need to do is we need to get the file over here. So it says here, this is a link. I want you to right click on that and select copy link address. And then we need to go over to the web shell. And in the web shell, we're going to create another directory for this. So we're going to, first of all, I think I might have this Yeah, I already had this directory in here. So we're going to make the directory mkdir and then repetitions. And then we're going to hit enter to create the directory. Next, we're going to enter the directory by doing cd repetitions. And then lastly, we're going to download the file using the wget command. So it's going to be wget space, and then right-click, paste, and this is the file that we're looking for, the file path, and then hit enter, and that's going to download the file. So the file should be called enc_flag. Okay, so user CG says I need help on the big zip. Okay, I'll help you in about 10 minutes. I'll put you at the top of the help line, okay? Okay, so we've downloaded the enc_flag file. We need to ls, and it's going to say that the flag is in here. So does anybody know what the command is to decode the file using base64? Okay, and I see user C. I can help you second. So user L says the command is base64-d. That is correct. So the command is going to be base64-d and then the name of the file. In this case, the name of the file is enc_flag. So space enc_flag. User AS. Yeah, I've heard that some people say that my voice sounds kind of robotic. So I guess I'll be okay when the AIs take over. All right. So base64 space -d space enc_flag. Oh, Lucan says it was glitching. Is it still glitching right now? Okay, so it's not glitching now. So thank you for letting me know. Okay, so user F says, can you review the steps so far? So what you need to do is you need to make directory repetitions. So make dir space repetitions, and then we're going to enter the directory cd space repetitions to enter the directory, and then we wget. So wget space, and then we need to copy the link address from here, and then go to the web shell and then paste it in. So wget space and then paste and then enter. And that's going to download the file. So after that, we need to use base64 to decode the flag. So base64 space -d space enc_flag. User C says, is there any way I can get the recording for last week? Yes, I'll provide you the link for the recording from last week. You can usually find it on the YouTube page. So the YouTube page is this one right here. And the one from last week is on Friday is this one right here. I'll provide the link. Actually, I'll just provide the link to the last one to you, user C. Okay, so getting back to the task at hand. So base64 space -d space enc_flag, and then give the command, and then we see that we see a bunch of stuff right here. Does anybody know what this could be? If anybody knows what this could be, please let me know. User L got the flag already. All right, congratulations, user L. So user F says it's base64 code. So what do you think we should do? If this is still base64 code after we decoded it, what should we do? Does anybody know what we should do after that? User L says we should keep decoding. So that's correct. So we just need to keep on decoding after this. So in order to keep decoding, we need to give the same command. So hit up to give the same command, base64. Okay, I need to take a little sip of water. Hold on. Okay, so base64, and then we need to use the pipe. So we space, and then we use the pipe character right here, and then we base64 D it again. All right, so we're going to do, so this is doing 2 base64 decodes. And after we do that, we still see more base64. So what should we do? So user in YouTube, TB the star says, it's not letting me paste when I click. So you want to right click. So you right click and then you choose paste. So if you're having troubles, try doing it over again, and then you should be able to get it. All right, so this is still base64 encoded. So what we need to do is we need to give the previous command, but we need to decode it again. So space, and then pipe, and then base64D. So I think in this challenge, you need to do this like maybe 7 times. So I want you to give the command again, and if you still see more base64 code, then I want you to do it again. So just keep on doing it. And then this one looks a little bit shorter. And then we do it again. Base64D. And then it's still more base64. And then we do it again. And then base64D with the, so we're using a lot of pipes in this case. And this is the final flag. So we need to use the base64 command 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So base64, this right here. What you need to do is you need to highlight the flag, and then you need to right click it, select copy, then go back to the web page and paste in the flag and click on submit. Okay, so I'm gonna speak up. Some people said that they can't hear what I'm saying, so I'm gonna speak a little bit louder. Does it sound loud enough? Okay, so after you've pasted it in, click on submit flag, and then you're finished. So everybody, if you managed to finish the challenge, please type in the chat base64 over and over. All right, some people finished the challenge. Congratulations, everybody. All right, so we're going to be, so this is the end of today's session. If anybody has any problems that they need me to help them with, you can stay behind after the session ends. But to everybody who is everybody who does not have any problems or any questions that they need to ask, we're going to be back on Wednesday at the same time, and we're going to be doing the last session for Linux. All right, so everybody, thank you very much for showing up today, and I hope you're having fun learning about Linux and learning about how to use the Linux terminal, picoctf, all that great stuff. All right, so all right, user UF says they're excited for Python. Okay, I'm going to stop the live stream recording right now so we can start the help session. Okay, so I'm going to end the stream.